Right, morning, afternoon or evening, depending on where you're viewing this from. Hope you're all well. Lisa here. I've had a lot of people ask how I've done this card, so I'm just going to do nice and quick tutorial. This card will also show you this effect with the misting, which is with the pan pastels. So again, you're going to have not only just how you do the card and how I've done this card, but just also how the misting effect is done, just so it's giving you clear instructions on that. So what do we need? Just card sizes. This is 7x5. Just again, I don't use expensive card. 7x5 card, and then literally, if you're going to do layers to it, you can use your rulers if you wanted to, but just to give you an idea of size one. So the next one there is 7.5 by 5.5, and obviously this piece of card, I've got like a box of cards, and that's obviously what I'm using at the minute, so I couldn't tell you like makes or anything like that, but yeah. So 7x5 I've started with, that's what this is, and then obviously it's just gone up on that half an inch thereafter. All right, so there's the card. So I'm going to pop that there so you can see that. Colours I'm going to be using, I'm probably going to be using just a black fine liner marker, a white Posca pen, selection of brushes. Yes, I'm gonna, yeah, I'll probably just, no, I don't probably need the one. I'm gonna do a number 7 brush and a number 3 brush, possibly use that, but I think these will be fine on it. Pan pastels, as I mentioned earlier. The Elements inks I'm going to be using will be Lime Punch and Green Sleeves. If I add anything else to it, I will obviously add it in as we go, so you know. And then the permanent, obviously when it's dry, these are permanent. The VersaFine Clay, I've got the Portobello, which is from the new range. And then obviously Black Nocturne, which there's only a little bit of black in this. I'm also going to be using a stencil. And the stencil is the Cobbles stencil. So I'll be using that. And then obviously I'm already mounting for quickness. So this little fairy is the one with the little lantern on. Obviously I'm not going to use the lantern, so we're going to be making sure that that's not going to be showing, because we're going to pop a little star on it, on there. So this is from the set of 4. Don't know the name of this because it's an old set I've got, and it doesn't say what it is, but it's the 4 fairies that are all flying on that, if that helps you guys. Then I've got my trusted orchard grass mounted, ready to go. Going to be using, I call this, what do I call this now? It's like mistletoe, isn't it? And that's on a set of 4, but again, I didn't have the sticker on, so I can't give you that. And I'm sure one of you lot out there that know all the stamps will know exactly the name of that, so thank you in advance for helping out if you can post it. And then I'm going to be using the wild pine, and they've got these lovely little swirls on them, which it is very Christmassy, to be fair, but again, it hasn't got to be used in a Christmas format. So let's crack on. Right then, clear me way. I'm cluttered. My stuff's so chaotic. When you look at other people, they're so like, woo, clean and simple, but me, I'm just chaotic, and that's the way I like it. Chaos, absolute chaos. Okay, let's start with the card then. So reference, I'll have my card there. So am I going to do it the same? Maybe not. I don't know. We'll go with it anyway. Normally when I you know, do like a clean and simple card, I'll tape it off, and that there's no tape on this one, as you can see. I've literally just gone straight onto the card and utilised all the card space. Even though I've posted it as a clean and simple card, there is a lot of white on it, so that's where you get your clean and simple from. So the first thing I'm going to do is probably play around with the background. So 2 favourite colours apart from a yellow. There isn't actually any yellow. I could add yellow in, but well, we'll see. Right, so we've got green sleeve, and we'll start with the lighter of the 2. We get a bit of paper just to help out underneath. There we go. Rightio. We'll use this one as down. So I'm literally at the bottom bit. It don't bother me if it goes on really like very cloggy sort of thing. Now I'm not going to go full up to where you can see it on there, because obviously I want to add the stencil. So I'm just putting sort of not a pretend backing, but just so I can say that part of the card there is where I'm going to utilise to build up the actual image. So the tree is going to go there, that bit of foliage at the bottom, and obviously we're going to have the fairy up the top. So that does there. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of the darker one, which is the green sleeve. And that's sort of got that sort of yellow. Then, I mean, there's no water on this, eh? There's no water droplets. Maybe I'll do it on this one, maybe not. So there's that format of the card, and I've got a little bit of ink on here, which will be ideal for my stencil. So that there is your start. So the next thing I'm going to do is pop the tree on. Now I'm not going to do like black, I'm not going to do a green as such. I'm going to use the Portobello, and the Portobello gives it sort of that tree sort of brownish look, but then I can add if I wanted to. Now if you think that's a bit plain for me, you could always get, let's have a look, for instance, let's give you a for instance, if you want to add a bit of redness to it, very, very lightly just touch the edge, or just kiss the edge with that bit of brown if you wanted to. What would I use then? Acorn. So let me get a bit of paper. Had a bit of a moment then, look at that. But if you think to yourself, well, I don't really want brown on it, again, mix of colours, but I'm just literally tapping over just to take that harshness off. And my pad's fine, it's not really put a transfer of ink onto it. Now, well, you can have the full image if you want, but I'm going to sort of, as on the card I've done, I'm going to come over slightly, and I'm not going to do it down to the bottom because we've got that backing area. And then I'm going to sort of, let's look at the reference. I'm going to do it a little slightly different actually. I'm going to just bring it about here, and then nice firm press. Now I ain't too bothered if it doesn't go down nicely, because I've got my lovely new pencil, so again I'm happy with that. So that to me, happy with, no problem at all. And like I said, I can put my pencils on that to pull out, but where you've got those little swirls, that's where I'm going to do the white Posca, that just adds that little sort of Christmassy feel to it. And obviously at the top area is where the fairy is going to be. So the fairy in that is going to be the last part of it. I'm now going to concentrate, I'm actually bringing that together there. Now what I've done first of all was the darker colour, which in this case is the green sleeves. And I'm just going to pop it on just to build up that area. Now I actually want it darker, so let me look at the lovely colours I've got here, and I've got colours coming out of my ears. What am I going to pop on? Ooh, maybe that's going to be, I need something with a bit of an earthiness to it. Let's have a look. Let me just say, excuse my arm going across the screen, totally unprepared here. Shall we? No, I don't know, that's avocado. That's from the new colour. Let me try and use one of these new colours. Let's have a look at that. That's green. Look, we got grass green. Well, you can't get no grass green here. That's right. So, oh, no, I don't really want to. Taking notice of me, I'm having a right blonde moment here, and I'm going to use this instead, just in case I do one. The reason why I've just thought about it, if I don't like what's going on there, I don't want to use a permanent ink on. Right, now that's really dark, so let me just lighten that out again. Right, so different colours than what I used before. However, I'm just going to bring together the backing area of the tree. A little bit more, not too much. Now I'm just sort of stippling the brush just to give it that sort of indication of the tree. So I've added their olive to the line punch and the green sleeves. Now, yeah, now I'm doing a bit of a mix and match there, so I've just put all three colours on my brush, and I am literally just going to edge that on. And the reason why I'm doing that is obviously when it comes to taking that stencil out, because I'm using a slightly different colour, I just want to bring it over a bit more. Now before I start putting that on that bottom area, I'm just going to bring this together here, because obviously the white Posca is going to be the end bit, but going in my new pencils, Now obviously I used my other pencils on that one, so forgive me if we do different colours here, because it's just finding that lovely. Okay, I'm happy with that. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is just start to blend out just that area where the trunk of the tree is. Like I say, you ain't got to go too harsh with it, but just down this area here, obviously there's a bit of depth there where I'm going to put the Posca in. I just want to roughly see the trunk going all the way up to that top there. So once you start putting on the colours, but I must admit, if you are looking for pencils, these blend beautifully. You know, every now and again, I mean, you spend a fortune on some things, but some things are worth the spend, and I must recommend this pencil set. Is amazing. So that's quite a bold, harsh look now. Right, so coming down, because I want to start building up down this area here, all I'm going to do is just do it so that's roughly the area. When you look at a tree, it's never sort of, there's always a bit of something going on behind it or underneath it, and that, well, that's giving me that indication of that's where I'm going to build up. So no water, nothing's going on it yet, so I'm going to start putting what shall we put on? I'm going to put some grass on. So what am I using? The Portobello. So this is off the new range of inks. So I'm going to do like that little backdrop. Now I've brought this down a little bit, how you can see it on the other card. I think it's a bit lower. So I'm just going to add that little bit of depth. I don't want to go too, yeah, that'll do. I'll just stamp that off. Right, so that's them done. And then from that, I then want to build up, just so it's sort of, you're going to have a look at that sort of frontal area now. And then I'll then build it up with like the mist and that. So this is, I don't know, I call this the mistletoe one. It's sticking with me, the mistletoe name is. Now, just, there's no way to this at all. It literally is just a random. But I want to build the area up around that tree, because although we can see there's something going off in the background, that tree area, but it's also a scenery, so I don't want it sort of going too much. So I just want to blend it out. So what I'm going to do now is, because we've got that darker bit behind, I have no idea the names of these colours that I'm using. I'm just literally picking up a colour that I feel is relevant to what I want to use. You can use whatever colours you want. You haven't got to use greens just because it's a tree. You could, I mean, this would look absolutely stunning in blues for Christmas, because you know, I've seen so many different Christmas cards out there, and that's roughly where I've got my inspiration for this card. All the beautiful Christmas cards that I'm seeing being posted. Okay, so I'm happy with how that part looks there. Right then, so I'm now going to pop the fairy on. So fairy obviously is going to be in black. Now on this, she's holding a little lantern, so I am literally, well, I'm just going to, let me load her up first of all. Make sure you've got plenty of ink, because I just want this going down in one. Now if you do find that you've not got all the ink off the lantern, we are going to change it up into a star anyway. So I'm going to get a little bit of tissue, and I am just going to wipe off several times. Little tiny lantern. It's a little lantern with a little light in it. It's such a cute little stamp. But if you take that away, she could be absolutely holding anything. So, and on today's occasion, she's putting a star on top. So I just want to pop her roughly like so. So nice and firm, 1 image done. Now I can see that didn't do the best white, which is good, because you're going to see now what I'm going to do in regards to changing it. So I shall do that last of all. So that shows me where, but that I'm going to change that into a star. So let me pop them over there. Right. So cobbles. Now Obviously you want to hold it fully over the card so all the areas are on. Now let me see what I'll get. I'll use that. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to sweep this around very, very lightly, and I've not added any extra on to the brush. So this is ink that's already on, and it's just very, very lightly, and I'm not going on any other area. Just holding it nice and steady. Now I'm going to come over this side. So it's sort of corner, not fully to corner, but that gives you that sort of sweep. And I'm just going to bring it around the fairy just slightly. Now if you wanted to add a little bit more darker on here, I'm just going to put a little bit more of the green sleeves on. Forget what I'm doing then. It's all good, isn't it? Now if your stencil moves, then you're going to get like a that little effect. So I don't want it to move too much, but bring it in. Done. So again, that's gone quite deep there going out, and again it's totally changed the outlook of the card. But when you've added the white on and you've added the misting on, it will actually bring it together. So where I've got this little lantern here, I'm just going to do me a little star. So point it down like so. Just a tiny, tiny little star. Now you can extravagant it out, pull little bits out. You can have one of the little tiny I think what I've done with the original one was the little tiny, you know, the little pen one with the little stars on, and then I just took it out. But I'm going to add more dots around this, so this will actually be altered again, because I never do the same again twice, although this is very, very similar, just to give those effects. So the white Posca pen is I'm going to do last. Now the bit with the misting. First of all, I'm going to get the pan pastel, and I'm going to just, don't know what I've got on there, but that can go off. I'm just going to put some white on it first, and then I'm just going to soften the edges. So I'm not going onto the card as such. I'm literally just softening the edge. So I'm just going to come over that bit there, and I'm going to be red. And already that's brought it out lovely. Now, because I've gone quite harsh here, I am literally just going to bring it down just a little, and I'm just going to bring it slowly. I don't want to take the harshness away because I like the way that the card's looking. So that's just on those edges there. Now I'm going to get my little brush, and I want to do like a misting effect that's coming through from over here. Now you can bring it over and just wisp the brush over so it gives you an idea of how and where you want it to be. So I want some here, and I want it along here. So I'm going to have like sort of two areas. I might add more. So the smallest brush, which is a number 3 brush, just going to dab it on, tap off the excess, and then I'm just literally thinking, how would I see a misting looking going through? If I was looking at this now in a woods, and it's all magical, and all the fairies are making me put things in the basket, this is what I'd be seeing. Very, very light misting just coming through. Now how pretty is that looking? Let's have a look. I like to look at things from a distance, because then you can think to yourself, is it working? Isn't it working? Don't know about that. But I like to look like there's a bit of a balance to it as well. Now if you think to yourself, not too sure, just move it in, and then look, does it look like misting? Well, yeah, it's getting like misting now, and I'm happy with how that's going. And because we're quite dark down the bottom, just add a little bit in, just so it then lifts the contrast of the card. And here, because we're going to add some that white swirls, and we're just pulling out the detail that's actually in the card now. And that's how you do a misting effect. So when you look at your card, whatever your card is that you're doing, you want to just add that dramatic effect at the back of it, just look to just add, I mean, it hasn't got to be white, it could be anything. Now I've still got a little bit on here, so I'm just going to bring it around here because that black's a bit harsh there, but I'm going to put some white Posca on now. So let me just turn this over for you guys. I'll put it that way so you're probably viewing it a bit better then. So let me just make sure my pen's not blobbing out, which is good. So on the actual design of the tray, there's like these lovely little swirls, and all I'm going to do is just pick out each of the little dots and the little swirly bits. The little swirly bits are like circles upon circles, but I'm going to turn them into like a swirly area, and I think that just makes it, I mean, you've got to use white again. I'm just doing just to show the contrast of the design. You could use, I don't know, you could do a glitter pen and add like your foils on, because there's some amazing people out there doing lots of nice stuff with foils and things. I'm not a glittery person, that's my mum. She loves all the glitters and all her finery, bless her. I'm not that way inclined. I like to just be either very plain or like to build up just like different areas, just with different mediums basically. So that's what I like to do. But you do what you feel that is relevant for how you like that, the images and the cards that you make. This is just to give you a little bit of an indication and just to show you. And as that comes down, as you want to blot it away, just use your finger. I'm always covered in paint. Now at the star, I'm going to put one in the middle, and then I'm going to just do a little burst of like just large little dots around it, just so it's gives it that sort of magical twinkle, just to bring that out. And then I'm going to put a little few dots on the tips of the fairy wings. Now then, for the actual wings itself, I'm going to do a contrasting colour. If you look at a wheel, a colour wheel, contrasting yellow is purple or blue. So I'm going to use a very light blue out of the new colours, my new pencils, and just, oh, look at that pop of the colour. Beautiful. Wow. Can't wait to do a full card with these. I really can't. I mean, if you wanted to just pop a little bit around again, you can do it. It's totally up to you. I don't want to go too OTT with it. Let me just bring a little few more dots. So again, I should have really done the little stamp with that just to bring it together. But we're nearly done, nearly there, folks. It's been too long a journey with me today. I appreciate you dropping by and coming to say hello and all that. So again, I don't want to get too harsh with that. So let's have a look as we're looking at the cards. Very similar. I've probably had more different greens, more heavier. Let me just want to bring some more colour here. I'm going to go in with that darker, just to show underneath. There's always a shadow when if you're in the woods. Always look at the colours that you see on the tree. It's never just like a flat colour. You'll always find yellows, whites, different greens, light greens, dark greens. And I just like to just flick a bit of colour out. And if you think that it's too flat, again, you can just dust it over with a little bit of your white, just to get it all sparkling nice. Now, because that's quite harsh with that black there, what I'm going to do that's different to that card is I'm actually going to bring in some little dots, just so it takes your eye from that. So again, it looks very fairy, it's very twinkly. And you could even add some additionals in here if you wanted to. Again, some people love glitter, feel free. Add what you like. I'd like to see actually what you do create and how you pull yours together, because it'll be nice to see. And again, trees have always got a little bit of detail. You can just dot it, just smudge it so it's not such a harsh colour. But that gives you an idea of how to do that misting effect. Just a stencil brush lightly over. I mean, we could actually just take it out. This is where I hide things with this. Hide a multitude of sins, especially if you don't like something. I'm not too keen on that star, but benefit of this tutorial, you get the idea of what I'm trying to show you, which is the main thing. Did I put, let me just, I'll tell you what, before I finish this, let me just add a little bit of mist in at the bottom, because that just, again, it just softens that. And that, you all say, oh, it's ever such a soft image, but that just softens that harsh line. I mean, you could take that all up the tree, all up the side. Right, I have somewhere, I've got a card already, pre-ready. So again, as I said, this is 7 by 5. All I've done there is 7.5 by 5.5. Cut the card, popped it on with a bit of tape. For quickness of this video, I'm going to see, oh gosh, I've got one that works. Goodness me, they all keep jamming on me. You know, this is, for things like this is perfect, but you know, when you're trying to do something and just it don't work, it's like, I'm gonna cry. But it's all right, we'll live another day. Right then, so let's pop it out the way. Let's try and get it as straight or as precise as I possibly can. I don't know, one of these days I'll get this bang on. Oh, I think I'm quite close there. Okay, so look at that. There's always something I'm going to graze along. Now, if you do a slight mark, get the white, that's why you put it down to begin with. Multitude of sins hidden away. Right then, there you go. Card. More yellows, bit more misting on this one. Again, you can feel free with the misting, add it where you need to. You know, again, you do what you feel you want to do on that card. I mean, I could go on forever, keep adding bits of mist, take the whole card away, but that just showcases there. Again, we've done slightly different. I never do the same card, same size card, and I've tried to keep it the same sort of framing for you, so it gives you that overall look, so you can just see how it's put together. But I think, you know, beautiful. You could do a series. I mean, you could even do these into tags. There is a smaller version of this tree, which again would go very nice if you're doing a gift, so you've got your card and your tag to match. I'll recap again on what we've used. So we've used the cobble stencil. We've done the small mistletoe that I call it. Those are the little effective bits there. The orchard grass, which is coming with me in my grave when I'm no longer here. The set of small fairies, this is the one with the little lantern on it. I might just put a little twinkle in that actually. And then the wild pine tree, which is there. So there you go. Colours, lime punch, green sleeves, and the olive in the elements, and then just the portobello on the new colours, and the nocturne in the VersaFine Clair, and obviously pan pastel white. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for popping by, and I look forward to see what you create and what twinkles you put on. Anyway, have a fabulous day. Ta-ra a bit.